Happy New Year's, my loves. I hope you all had a great 2023 and that your 2024 is even better. Today, I just wanted to do a quick video about my most played music from last year. I'll say right now, most of it wasn't actually from 2023. I'm always discovering artists I've never listened to before, so usually my most played music in any given year is made up of mostly older songs and albums. There's only a handful of music released in 2023 that was actually among my most played from last year, and y'all could probably guess some of them. But let's just get into it. I'll start with my top 10 most played songs. Number 10 is actually a tie between two songs, What About Us and Not Giving Up, both by The Saturdays, and both from the same album. These two are such great hype songs. Pretty much anytime I was going out or just wanted to dance like an idiot, I'd throw either one of these on. They're both dance pop perfection. Number 9 is Girls on Top by BoA. I never listened to BoA until one of you guys recommended her English album to me earlier last year, and I absolutely loved it. This was my most played song from that album, and definitely my favorite. It goes so hard. It reminds me a lot of Goodies era Sierra, and that is a very high compliment coming from me. Number 8 is Fight for This Love by Cheryl. There's gonna be a lot of Cheryl in this video for the record. I got into her music last year and completely fell in love. This song is obviously one of her biggest hits, and I could totally see why. It's heartwarming, touching, but also danceable and catchy. I've both cried to it and done my own choreo to it, which is the mark of excellence in my book. Number 7 was Let's Get Down, also by Cheryl, from her second album, Messy Little Raindrops. I did a video ranking that album a few weeks ago, so I won't go too in depth about the tracks I have from it here, but I will just say this song and the other ones that were in my top 10 should have all been singles. I don't understand how they weren't. Number 6 is actually a song from 2023, Tension by Kylie Minogue. This is quickly becoming a favorite Kylie song for me. I loved it at first, but it just keeps getting better every time I listen to it. And when it comes on in the club, I go absolutely feral. I cannot get enough of it. Number 5 is Waiting, also from Cheryl's Messy Little Raindrops. This was my go-to crying song this year. I can't tell y'all how many tears were shed over it. I absolutely adore this track. It may actually be my favorite song by her. Number 4 is Kiss the Stars by Pixie Lott. Okay, I told y'all this list would be random as hell, but like I said, I'm always trying to discover tracks that are new to me, and this one was such a great find. It's upbeat, corny as hell, maximalist pop perfection. It's the exact type of song that I love. And I've said it before, but if a song has star in the title, I'm immediately just gonna love it. It's never not happened. That word is like a cheat code to get me to love a song. I haven't listened to anything else from Pixie Lott, but I definitely plan on going through her whole discography this year. Number 3 is Slapper by Nadia O. I will take any chance I can get to talk about this girl. I have a video about her where I go more into detail about her music, and I made it because she really is so fascinating to me. This song was released well over a decade ago, but it was a go-to party song for me this year. It's so strange and filled with these odd little moments, but it works so well. If you haven't listened to her, give her a try, or at least watch my video on her to see if she sounds like your thing. I got into her in January of last year, and she stayed on constant rotation for me throughout 2023. Number 2 is Yeah Yeah, the last song from Messy Little Raindrops. I said it in my ranking, this song is euphoria, it is bliss, and it transforms me as a person. Absolute masterpiece. Number 1, shockingly actually from 2023, was Padam Padam by Kylie Minogue. I'm sure this topped a lot of other gays lists, or at the very least was near the top. This, to me, was the song that defined last year, but I don't think I have to talk about it. If you're watching my channel, I'm pretty sure you're acquainted with it. I'll just say it was awesome to see Kylie have a smash hit like this at this point in her career, and I hope she continues getting newer fans, especially in the US, where she's obviously not as well known, since we have no taste. Alright, moving on to albums, I'm gonna go over my top 5. Number 5 was Move Along by the All American Rejects. Again, totally random. I just kinda decided to give this one a listen since I've always loved the singles from it, and the rest of the album clearly didn't disappoint. I particularly loved the tracks Night Drive, Eyelash Wishes, and Dance Inside. This is just a solid pop rock album from beginning to end, banger after banger, and I'm definitely gonna try to listen to their whole discography this year. Number 4 was Cinderella's Eyes by Nicola Roberts. I first listened to this album last year, and I actually talked about it in my One Album Wonders video, and I was surprised to see how many comments on that video were about this album, and also how I said Nicola's name wrong, which I apologize for. But there's a really strong cult fanbase around Cinderella's Eyes, and I could see why. It wasn't necessarily my favorite album that I discovered, but it is very distinct and memorable. I do think it's this high since it is pretty long, and I have this weird thing where I listen to albums at least 10 times before I move on to anything else. I know that's kind of strange, but I feel like doing that helps me actually take in the complete package. But I enjoyed my time with this one very much, and did go back to revisit it beyond those initial 10 listens. My favorite tracks were Gladiator, Yo-Yo, So Damn Right, Say It Out Loud, and the Dan Gretsch mix of Lucky Day. Number 3 was Messy Little Raindrops by Cheryl. Again, I did a ranking of this one, so if you want my thoughts on all the songs, check that video out. I'll just say for now that this was my second favorite album that I listened to in 2023. Number 2 is A Million Lights by Cheryl. I actually think this is a better record than Messy Little Raindrops, but the highlights on Messy Little Raindrops are just so good that I prefer it just barely over this one. But I am still crazy about this album. It's non-stop bops, just early 2010s dance pop excellence. My favorites are Call My Name, Sexy Denamada, Make You Go, Ghetto Baby, Screw You, Teddy Bear, and Under the Sun. And my most played album of 2023, and frankly it wasn't even close, was Tension. There was pretty much no competition for this. Just by virtue of being a Kylie album, this was destined to be my most played. I have a review of it if you want to know my thoughts a little more in depth, but this was definitely my favorite album of the year. I can't get enough of it. It is a strong body of work that once again proves Kylie is the queen of pop. She understands how to give people exactly what they want, and she delivers consistently. We truly do not deserve her. I'm seeing her in Vegas this March, and I will be crying, no doubt. I just love her so much. My favorites from this album were Hands, Vegas High, Hold On To Now, One More Time, Love Train, the title track, and Padam Padam. Lastly, let's get to my most played artists. Number 5 was Britney Spears. Not surprising, she is always at least in my top 10, but I think she was even higher this year because her book just got me in the mood to listen to her even more than usual. My most played album from her was Blackout, of course. Number 4 was Aaliyah. I finally took the time to listen to her entire discography this year. I know I'm late to the party, I am so sorry, but I'm glad that I got into her, because she really was an incredible artist. Her and Timbaland really defined the early 2000s, and listening to her music just made me realize how much influence she's had on so many artists even to this day. My favorite album by her was her self-titled, and some of my favorite individual tracks were Got to Give It Up, The One I Gave My Heart To, Back and Forth, More Than a Woman, Extra Smooth, Read Between the Lines, We Need a Resolution, Rock the Boat, At Your Best You're Love, and Miss You. Number 3 was Kylie Minogue, and really it wasn't just because of Tension. More than half of her plays from me this year were from her older albums. I always throw on some of her songs if I'm going out or if I need a serotonin boost, because she is just joy incarnate. Her music makes me happy and gets me excited. She's been at or near the top of my most played artist list ever since I got into her in 2020, and I don't see her falling off for me anytime soon. Number 2 was Cheryl. I thought for sure she'd be number 1 considering how much I've listened to her, but there is one other artist that I listen to more. Despite that, Cheryl was my personal artist of the year. I had such a fun time going through her discography. Her music is kind of Britney-esque, which obviously I love. And that's not to say they're exactly the same or anything, but her music definitely takes some inspiration from Brit, so it was only natural that I'd fall completely in love with it. And my most played artist of 2023 was the band New Found Glory. I told y'all I have very random taste. They're at the top simply because they had the largest discography of any artist I got into this year by a very wide margin. And like I said, I listen to albums and songs at least 10 times each, so given just how much they have, yeah, it makes sense that they'd be at the top of my list. I had listened to some of their stuff before, but it wasn't until late 2022 that I decided to give their whole catalog a listen, and I'm really glad that I did. I love pop rock music, but in the past I've really only listened to singles from that genre. I've been actively trying to get into more albums and artists for the past 2 years, so I figured that I would go through theirs. I listened to their first few albums up to Catalyst in late 2022, And then the first album I actually listened to in 2023 was Coming Home, which is a great record, by the way. It took me a while to listen to everything, and I won't lie, I did get kind of burnt out by the end, so I didn't really listen to them very consistently past March of last year, and that's why it was surprising to me that they were my most played. I low-key kind of forgot how much they dominated the first 3 months of 2023 for me. Now, the average amount of plays for each of their songs is definitely lower than the average amount of plays I had for Cheryl and Kylie, but it was just the sheer volume of music they had that made them get the top spot. My favorite album from them that I listened to in 2023 was Radio Surgery, a banger record. And some of my favorite tracks from their overall discography that I listened to last year included Make It Right, Summer Fling Don't Mean a Thing, Vicious Love, Tangled Up, Drill It in My Brain, Persistent, Dumped, Party on Apocalypse, Barbed Wire, Oxygen, It's All Around You, and Over Me. I told y'all they had a lot of music. And that was it for my most played music of 2023. I know it's weird most of these weren't actually from 2023, but that's why I'm planning on doing a video specifically about my favorite music released last year. Before I go, I wanted to get a little sappy for a minute and just say that I truly appreciate all of you. 2023, I could confidently say, was the best year of my life, and starting this channel was definitely a big reason for that. I've always wanted to make a YouTube channel, but never put in the effort to do it. I was worried I'd embarrass myself or that no one would care about what I had to say, but my experience so far has been the complete opposite. I've loved getting recommendations from you guys, talking about our favorite songs and artists, and getting people to revisit music they maybe haven't heard in a while. Music to me is very powerful and honestly spiritual. I feel the most connected to whatever higher power there is whenever I'm listening to or talking about music. So to have a creative outlet to do that with has been so incredible. And the fact that you guys take 5 to 10 minutes out of your week to listen to me rambling on genuinely means the world to me. From the bottom of my heart, thank you all. Now, with that said, I am going to be slowing down my uploads a little bit for the next month or so. I still have videos coming out, but the holidays have got me feeling kind of fatigued. Don't get me wrong, I love the end of the year and all the festivities, but it's always a lot, so a girl's got to take some time to recover. I also have 3 jobs, so finding the time to do videos can be challenging, and I think I need just a little bit of a break. I'll still be posting weekly though, and I have a few videos lined up right now that I'm excited for you guys to watch. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know what your most played music in 2023 was, and I will see you in the next one.